If you don't have a fire starter, if you have any oil, beef tallow, any lard, anything sitting around, dump it on a little paper towel. Kind of just roll a little twisty twist. Put your smaller pieces on first. Kind of have like 2 thicker pieces that I can put this down in between and some little chunks. Just kind of set that baby down in there. We are just doing this on a backyard fire pit, the solo stove. Got a little grate. And that little tallow, paper towel will burn super hot and actually stays lit for a while. So we're doing a simple little surf and turf tacos today. Start with a little red bell pepper. All I do is, I mean, you do it however you want, but I just cut off these edges. This is easiest for me, fastest, easiest. Take out that little baby in there. Yeah, and I just do it as thick as you want. I like it this thick, so I do it this thick. When you cook it, it'll get a little thinner. The veggies, red peppers, bell peppers and stuff like that, they won't get as thin as, say, like an onion or something when you cook it, but it does cook down, so don't be afraid to get them a little thick. Go to the green pepper. All right, onions, I like to cut it stem, whatever, root to stem, however you want to say it. I'll do it like that. I'll take off first little layer or so, that's kind of just like a little flimsy. Take it off. I always cut root to stem as well. So I go like this because it doesn't affect the onion. It doesn't smell as bad, make it cry as much. So, all right, now we'll do a couple little pinos. Hit them with just a little bit of olive oil. You could use tallow, you could use whatever you want as well, but then hit it with your mix. And for this mix, all I did was salt, pepper, a little garlic powder, cayenne, oregano, maybe a little bit of sugar in there. And then we actually hit it with a little bit of, was it Rufus? A little steak seasoning. All right, so now we can just go ahead and season, marinate the steak and the shrimp. I already, off camera, trimmed up a little bit of the fat. Basically all I did was, skirt steak, it's a fast cook. It's not gonna be, melting down that fat, really. So you wanna kinda go ahead and take off any little stringy fat that you can. A lot of it will peel off with your finger too. You can kinda just get up under it. And I like to save my fat. And I reuse it during the cook. Got a little extra flavor. It helps keep the temperatures up on the smoke or on the fire. Helps spike it real quick. This is gonna be a hot, fast cook. A lot of this is kinda gonna get charred up in there and just make a nice little crust. The sugar that we added in here caramelizes nicely. Oh yeah, give it a nice little pat her down. Try to keep a clean hand. My clean hand is my seasoned hand. Left hand is my meat hand. So I'm gonna put this down in here. I would like to marinate for at least an hour. I'm not gonna get to, we're not gonna today. So I'm just gonna do a little score action in here. Just kind of help the seasonings, help the flavor get in there. Squeeze it in there. Actually hit a little lime on your veggies too. Give everything a little love. That's what it's about. That's what cooking's about. It's love. And then make sure your bag is nice and tight in here. Vacuum sealer would work if you have it, but you can also just roll it up nice and tight like. And then we got our shrimp. So for these, we're going super easy. I'm not even gonna touch them. These are already deveined. And actually what I'm gonna do, a little trick to hold your shrimp juices in. If you're cooking shrimp over the fire, to help retain some of those juices, just use literally like a teaspoon of baking powder, put it in the shrimp, mix it all up, put it back in the fridge for 10-15 minutes, and something about it helps keep it juicy. It makes it juicier, whenever you throw it over the fire hot and fast. So that's what I'm doing. It's basically like a fridge outside, so let's roll them back up, let them chill for a minute, and then we'll season them back up. Always, always test your surface. You hear that? That's where you want to be. Hear the sizzle, and they're happy. Honestly, this is a little bit more veggies than I would want to throw in one pan, but we're hungry out here today. At this point in the cook, if you're cooking over live fire, the last thing you want to do is let your fire go out after you've already started cooking. Because then you got to reflame it and do everything else. Let the heat get back in. So just stay on top of it. All right, and while these cook up, we're gonna go season the shrimp. So these have been sitting in that baking powder. All right, so they've been in here for a few minutes until they look a little weird and juicy, but they're gonna be delicious. And that's what it's about, my friends. Don't be scared of the seasoning either. Put it on there liberally. And honestly, you don't want to put too much oil or like anything down on the bottom of your pan when you're doing veggies because they release a bunch of water anyways. So there's too much liquid in there and then they're not going to cook. They're not going to char up how you really want them. So kind of avoid putting too much oil or anything down there. Easy way for me to open up some garlic. You can use a knife blade or you can just use your hand, kind of put your palm down, smush it down. Peel it off. Ooh, that stuff's smelling good. Not at the beginning of the cook. Now, put a little butter in there. Get the good butter, man. Don't cheap out. Get some good, real butter, all right? Unsalted. You don't know how much salt they put in that shit, so. Control what you can control in cooking. You can get anything plain Jane, unsalted, do it. All right. So, also when you're cooking, you don't want your fire to be like too hot. Like this is honestly borderline of too hot. Because you can also burn your meat before you like create that nice crust that you want. And also, I mean, this flame doesn't look like it's anything crazy, but because it's on the solo stove, it like forces all the heat directly up. So it's not like a regular campfire where the heat can kind of go everywhere. This is like super concentrated heat. Like this right here, if you can't keep your hand over it for like over 5 seconds, then you're probably at like 400 and something. So squeeze out your juice. You want it as dry as possible, really. Really, I would a lot of times pat that down. Now if you put it on here, go ahead and kind of tuck it up. You don't want it to be as nice and like all spread out. You kind of want it to be close together. Flip them babies over. This is the point where you can take your nice Modelo or your good old Cerveza sprinkler. Like mine, this is a little rare, you know, but skirt steak should be almost rare. Garlic butter that's been chilling. Scrimp time. Well, you know, sometimes when you have clean fingers, sometimes you just gotta get your fingers in there, man. Can't be scared of these little shrimpers or the fire. That'll get you. That's something you might need to stay away from. Ooh. Shrimps are real quick. Like I said, like a minute. Depending on how hot your fire is, a minute, 2 minutes aside. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Done. Working. Flavor them. Once more. Hit them with a brush. Actually, better yet, let's hit them with a dump. Campfire backyard shrimp. These are some basic ass tortillas, but you can make them a little better by just doing this. A little butter, a little fire. All right, so with any meat, you always want to cut against the grain. So you can kind of see the grain going like that. So cut against that. It's lovely sourdough bread made by the lovely one and only Marissa. Some pico would be so good on this.
When the bread looks good like that too, half of
it. Boom, shrimp, done. Done. Intro.
All right. Take a bite. Yeah.
Wow. That was a big bite.